Yo, what is really good, my dudes? Today is Monday, February 4th, 2019. We got another RuneScape update for y'all. Today we see the release of Farmhands, a new addition to the player-owned farms. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go.
Cats is the illest. What you talking about, Willis?
Alright guys, this is an all-new addition to the player-owned farms in Ardoin, and farmhands are basically some helpers that can do various tasks for you, make a lot of your player-owned farm experience much easier. There are currently 3 different types of farmhands. There are the babysitters, and they will stop your farm animals from growing past the adolescent stage, allowing you to collect them and sell them for maximum beans to the buyers. There are collectors, and what they do is once a pen is full, they will gather any further animals that are born, and they can hold up to 30 of 3 types of species for a total of 90 unchecked animals. And finally, there is the trapper. Trappers will collect any random unchecked animal from the wild and deposit them into one of your pens. They'll potentially collect any non-shiny animal, with the exception of Araxite spiders, and others such as royal dragons have an incredibly low chance being collected. He will charge 100 beans per hunt. Next up we have the Storm Barn. This will be purchasable with beans and allow you to hold some checked animals for you. The initial barn holds 15 while the upgraded holds 30. Pretty useful if you have a whole bunch of checked animals in your bank to save you some bank space. And next up we have Baby Shakes. This is an NPC that you can deposit or get rid of, rather, all of your unwanted animals, and you'll get 10% of those beans that you would have got if you sold them to one of the various traders. Which is a good way to get rid of any unwanted animals if you have them in large quantity and you don't necessarily care about the beans that you could get from them. That is it for your main game update. We're going to shift over to the patch notes, and keep in mind some of the patch notes, we do have some more farm related updates. So without any further ado, let's jump into the patch notes. Alright, for the player-owned farm, they've added the Old Mick title for completing all of the breeding log. Talk to Sammy the sheepdog to unlock it. Shiny animals will now count as wild cards for trait requests when selling to player-owned farm NPC buyers, on top of the existing breed wildcard. Added a Don't Ask Me Again option to the warning for removing unharvested animals from the player-owned farm. Granny Potterington now sells the ability to unlock farm animal indicators to help determine whether something is diseased or has produce together. Elite Farmer's Hat can now be used to teleport or receive items if the player owns the Master Farmer Hat. Players can now teleport out of the player-owned farm pens. Moving on to some mining and smithing updates. They've updated the quick chat phrases for mining and smithing. Smelting gauntlets count as blacksmith gloves when wearing the blacksmith outfit. Mining red and crystal sandstone now has maximum stamina and does not reduce your stamina, so that the mining rate is not steadily reduced while emptying it. It therefore doesn't count for the My Sick 4-Tick Trick achievements to maintain near maximum stamina. Mining specific game settings have been moved from game interaction into their own section. Teleporting multiple decorated smelting urns at once now works as expected. A large bainite rock built into the west and east cliff faces at the mining site north of Relica were misbehaving and have been demoted to empty rocks. A pair of smaller recruits have set vigil over their doomed predecessors. A couple of bainite rocks have been removed from the Jadiso dungeon mine to better compete with the primary site. The outer bainite rocks in the Glacier cavern have been depleted to make it a more attractive proposition compared to the primary bainite site. Multiple dark animica rocks surrounding the empty throne have been removed to cluster opportunities in the area. Mining rocks in the mining guild are now less spread out. This also addresses an exploit on one of the orichalcite rocks. Fixed an issue where rock opportunities on 2x2 mining rocks were sometimes at a lower height than intended. Smithing interface will now show the correct amount of XP given for each item. The furnace perk will no longer work when mining with an augmented tool and relevant perk equipped that isn't a pickaxe. The Artisan's Workshop reward shop now mentions Egil in the tooltips for cannons rather than an Elof. Making a demonic sigil will now correctly use a silver bar. Players are no longer able to use the Edgeville furnace by using the mining smithing items on it if they haven't completed the easy Varrock tasks. Ore boxes will no longer autofill noted ores. You can still use noted ores on the ore box to store them if you wish. Remove the 2x2 Phasmite rock in the wilderness that was too far south from the other rocks to trigger rock opportunities. Veliath Hertz still mentions that rune boots could be obtained as a drop from Necrels during the In Memory of Myri quest. This has been changed to say that players need to make rune armored boots. The Make X counter banner now correctly updates to smithing when folding masterwork bars. Softclay now works with divination porters when mined from the Ithral district in Prifddinas. Smelting perfect gold has the correct animation. A couple of changes to mobile fixed an issue with the mobile NPC chat that caused it to be compacted into the middle of the screen sometimes when speaking to an NPC. Fixed an issue on mobile when swapping from Revolution Combat to Legacy Combat. The Revolution bar at the bottom was not hidden. The main bar, the larger one, remains in Legacy Combat as you can use it for skilling. Fixed an issue on mobile when interacting with a diseased plant on the Livid farm, where the side panel interface would not open automatically. Fixed an issue where the first letter of your first word would be omitted if you sent a private message. Fixed an issue with the clan motto editor and the clan thread ID sections of the clan management and settings interface. The on-screen keyboard was not being called automatically when these interfaces were opened. Fixed an issue that caused certain parts of the mobile interface to display with the legacy art style from the legacy interface skin setting. Removed a blocking layer that was intended to dismiss the keyboard on the login screen, as it was causing users to have to double tap parts of the UI as the first tap dismissed the keyboard. iOS remains unchanged. Fix the puzzle box interface on mobile devices so that the puzzle can be completed correctly. We've also made the following changes to improve interaction with this interface on both clients. The check button now shows a message box letting the user know how many of the tiles are correct and which are not, or if you have completed the puzzle. The toggle keyboard invert has been removed on mobile only. The hints button is now a toggle so that you are able to view the hints for as long as you want. The mobile action bar now functions as it did once before. You can now use all of your abilities and swap between each half of the bar without fear of it breaking. Please be aware that there are a few minor issues when swapping the bars, and they're working hard to fix these. Moving on to some updates to some achievements. The For the Love of Mabel achievement will now show when it has been completed. The Ivan is Flailing achievement completion can no longer be triggered multiple times. The Last of the Summer Swine achievement completion can no longer be triggered multiple times. Neither can the Imping Around achievements or the Famous achievements. 11 duplicated divination achievements in the skill lists that were awarding bonus rune score have been removed. Moving on to some other fixes. The modified botanist mask will now give the entire 200 vials in one go as intended when the required number of outfit pieces are owned. Modified shaman's headdress and diviner's headwear now give the correct number of items. Modified first age tiara will no longer check the number of herblore outfit pieces instead of prayer outfit pieces owned. Move the wolf hunter in Barbarian Village away from the newly positioned mining rocks. The Valkyrie Returned event now gives a login message informing players that the wolves can be killed again each day for more Valkyrie feathers. The Firemaking Journal will no longer get stuck on certain pages. Dragon Gauntlets will note as expected with notepaper. Logging out during certain points of the Defender of Varrock will no longer cause Heartwind to get stuck following you until you reset him in the wilderness. It's no longer possible to build invention machines with too few of the required ingredients. It's now possible to use a herb protector on a herb patch whilst having the green fingers aura active. It's no longer possible to obtain the Stone of Jas boost if unsuccessfully teleporting to the Glacier Cave via the portable fairy ring. Hidey hole level requirements will now be shown in the construction skill guide under the other category. Iron Men will now be given a reason as to why they cannot access treasure hunter via the calendar. It's because they're an Iron Man. Login message prompts from wishes can no longer incorrectly message on each login. An easy clue scroll pertaining to the East Ardoin is now slightly clearer. When attempting to clean herbs from the herblore habitat, the Make X interface confirm button will now properly read as cleaned rather than mix. An easy clue scroll pertaining to the Fremnik province is now made clearer. Defeating the Queen Black Dragon will now appropriately count towards applicable Rampage daily challenges. Text on the skill cape warning when buying with limited inventory space no longer overlaps. corrected monetary values for helmets and shields painted in the player-owned house, and added the crest name in brackets to these object names. And finally, players wielding holiday items will no longer attack players when selecting the ranking option in the Conquest minigame. And that is it for your patch notes. Links to everything discussed in this video will be down in the description below. If you want to head over there and check them out for yourself, go on over there to do so. With that, I'm going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed and you want to stay up to date on all things Runescape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Peace.